Hello and welcome to the Everything is Black and White podcast. Time for episode 18 of Get in the Bin with me, Andrew Musgrove, and
me, Sam Mulliner from the Greenwood and Mulliner Show on Newcastle Fans TV podcast. Download and subscribe now.
look at that shameful plugging, but go on, have a listen because it is rather good, as much as it pains me to say so. I'll be back on there soon enough, I would imagine, right?
Had you won Year Hero of the Year, you would have been back on by now. But sorry, Andrew, you weren't Hero of the Year for 2024, so that's a shame.
No.
How was the awards night? Because we haven't debriefed since then.
It was very good.
So you took Aaron with you and not me.
Yeah. That was a battle in itself to get Aaron signed up and down, but we got down. Yeah, it was good night. Lots of great podcasters there. Nice to be in a room with such esteemed podcasters. And we didn't win, but my colleague
Who was hosting? Who was hosting?
Oh, there wasn't like it wasn't. It was just the person who runs the awards. So it will be a name you'll not be familiar with. But they do put on a brilliant do. And yeah, fair play to my colleague in Birmingham, Dan, who beat us to best sport podcast of the year because he does work very hard. It is a great podcast, and yeah.
Blah 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 blah. Who beat you to Hero of the Year?
A lady who works for National World, I believe it is, and she basically just runs all their podcasts. So
National World or Natural World, was it?
What did I say? National World. Isn't that the direct competitor of Reach PLC?
Because that doesn't make sense. How can you have a national world? Surely it's international.
I'm sure that's what it is. Anyway, the point being, she thoroughly deserves it because she runs all their podcasts across the group, and her podcast that she's mainly involved in picked up another 3 awards, I think it was that night, and then she won the Hero of the Year. So fair play to that lady.
So did you not? Were you nervous? Did you not like? So the lights kind of went down. The envelope was being opened. Your heart was fluttering.
No, I knew. I'd said for many weeks that the Villa podcast would win. I was confident that they would win.
Exactly the attitude why you didn't win.
I was just being prepared myself to be defeated, and next year we will reclaim the title, hopefully. But it was a good night nonetheless, and yeah, we'll be back next year. Shall we get on with the show? Because I think you've had enough of making fun of the fact I didn't win Hero of the Year with or without a cape.
I am not making fun. I am throwing my support, and I think it's a disgrace you didn't get at least one award.
Well, thank you for your support, Sam. It is much appreciated.
It's a good job. If had I been there, I would have kicked off.
I don't doubt it. I can imagine you being quite an angry person in those situations.
No, I've been to 2 work awards dues before. One, I won.
What was it for?
KPIs, key performance indicators. Yeah, I really don't want to get bogged down in that.
No, I was going to say
the year after, I was nominated for something. Was it Manager of the Year or something like that? It was at the Hilton in Liverpool, and I didn't win. And I left the ceremony and went back to my room. I had a bath. Get the failure off me.
And I mean, talking of managers, you're wearing a very fetching red tracksuit, the new Adidas red
tracksuit. It's not the 90s.
Well, it's not a track. Is it a hoodie? Is it a zip up? What is it? Is it a full zip?
No, it's a hoodie. No, the zip
goes down. The little zip at the front. Do you like it? I mean, it look quite nice in it. Looks good.
I love it. And it's not. Obviously, the concerns were when it was launched that it was red and white. It's not. It's that lovely maroon colour, akin to the away shirt from the 90s, which I also love. It is absolutely superb. And you're right, I do look great in it.
Have you left anything online in the club shop? Is there anything you haven't bought yet?
Yeah, because I ain't got any money now. So there's there's plenty. I did want to get the white one actually, but because it was cheaper. But I having a house with 2 feral children, and there's just no way it's staying white. So
you wouldn't be wearing that in an Italian restaurant, would you, with your spaghetti bolognese?
No. So yeah, I went for the red one. I do not regret my choice at all. It's absolutely superlative. Can't wait actually to see what they're going to come up with. Which is, if you were tuned into last week's Greenwood and Mulliner show when we had Dan Emerson on, who directed the magnificent Adidas Newcastle United advert for the home kit, there may be a sequel.
Interesting. I mean, he was first interviewed by the Chronicle in the days before, but not in a visual or audio platform.
He wasn't though, was he? We didn't put it out the day we interviewed him.
Oh, I see. Well, that's your fault.
Did he invite? Let me guess. It's Kieran Kelly thwarting me again, isn't it?
Yes, he did get the interview with.
I bet Kieran Kelly wasn't invited down to Brighton, where he lives, for some beverages.
Are you going to go down to Brighton for some beverages?
Probably not.
There you go then. A wonderful interview nonetheless, and I do recommend you go and have a look at it. Shall we get on with the show?
Yeah.
Would you like to go first?
I can do. Light-hearted one this week. I say light-hearted, not as hard-hitting.
I have to be honest, I'm glad you've got a light-hearted one, because I certainly have not, young man. But fire away.
Oh, I just want to see. It's the lack of recognition that some players get when they've spent 10 or more years and they at one club and they don't get their testimonial.
Okay, what are the rules these days? I mean, because it seemed to be back in the day that if it was 10 years, you'd get a testimonial. But testimonials don't appear to be that common anymore.
And it's a crying shame. It's a crying shame, because they're fantastic nights. Beardsley's was great, wasn't it? If you were old enough to remember that. Shearer's, what a night. Broadcast live on ITV2, I think it was, back in the day.
It was.
Incredible night watching that at home. And I know a few people that went there that night as well. And it was just what a night. Such a great send-off for the one and only. I just feel it a bit harsh that some players aren't given the respect they deserve. I think I like Shay Given. 10 years. Yes, he left, but under real crappy circumstances. But that was due to our previous owner. I don't think there would be any harm at all in one pre-season. Obviously, our pre-season plans this year are pretty set in stone. But maybe one pre-season soon of having a Shay Given testimonial, having a Paul Dummett testimonial. I just think it's a shame. They make good nights. You can put it in with a pre-season, much like we did for Rangers a couple of summers ago. I just think they're great nights. Thoughts?
No, I agree, and it's a good opportunity to raise money for charity as well, with the tickets.
Yeah,
and what have you.
I'm that.
But we are. You mean Jamal Lascelles wouldn't be too many years away from earning one, like you mentioned, Shay Given. I mean, the last one to my memory would have been Steve Harper back in the day.
Yeah,
I can't think of another Newcastle United one since then. I mean, Shola would have been up for one, like you see, Paul Dummett. So there are players who you would think would love a testimonial.
Lascelles should have one.
Yeah,
I absolutely am adamant. From Championship to Champions League, man. That is, through thick and thin, standing up for us when times were really, really bleak. He has captained this side with.
Well, actually, it is 10 years, isn't it? It's 10 years.
Yeah, 2014.
He's not even a couple of years away. He's reaching 10 years at Newcastle United, which is tremendous. I'm just looking back on Jackie Milburn's testimonial back in 1967, which was quite a few years after he actually retired from playing for Newcastle United. He didn't think anyone would turn up, is the story, and 65,000 people turned up that day, which is a tremendous number, and it was a tremendous afternoon. It does seem to be something that was done more back in the day, though. I think Man United do quite a few. Phil Jones was apparently offered one, but he turned it down. But they have had ones for the likes of Wayne Rooney and co. But yeah, maybe maybe it's just something to do with the previous ownership. They just didn't see the point of it and didn't see the need for it. I know Harper had his, but maybe that'll start changing now with the current ownership, where they do look to pay respect to these long-serving players.
Yeah, I mean, the new ownership have had Shay Given in and around the joint, haven't they? And he's been obviously since he was coaching at Derby, wasn't he? The goalkeeper coach there. Since that had run its course, he'd been doing club ambassador stuff, being out in America and this, that, and the other. So he is very much in and around part of the furniture again, as well he should be. His exit bothers me to this day because I don't think it was right. And I just think if it's anyone who's done the stadium tour would have walked past that kind of plaque on the wall with top 10 all-time appearance makers. And if he'd have just stayed one more year, he would be top of that.
He would be, but he wanted to go and win something. I mean, he left at a time when things were particularly bad at Newcastle. I don't begrudge him his exit because he did what
I don't begrudge him it, but I don't know. It was all down to the previous owner, wasn't it? Really, let's face it. But yeah, that he has a lot to answer for, as we know.
He won the FA Cup, didn't he, when he moved to City, right at the start of that kind of period, which has obviously led City to be the dominant force they are now. But yeah, I mean, when you look at the names that haven't had a testimonial, you would love one, like say, for Shay Given. That would be a sellout. Shola definitely would be another one that would be close to selling out. Paul Dummett. I mean, you could just have a 3-in-1 kind of testimonial, right? Because them players would probably be playing where I think them players would be part of the team anyway. So you might as well just say, right, we'll chuck you all together.
I wouldn't like. Yeah, I don't want to see Shay Given being chucked together.
You know, and Shola and Paul Dummett, because you could only really have one per summer. You wouldn't want to see more than
No. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, I don't want to see them littered everywhere. But no, to just give, players who have, put a lot of years service, and in some cases, like most of their lives in with one club. I think it needs the respect it deserves, even if they're not the most glamorous of players, like your Dummets of this world. Still deserves to be respected.
Who would you think? Right, let's say Shay Given gets his testimonial. Who's going to be the opposition? Celtic is usually the go-to.
Yes, so it'll obviously be Celtic. It always is.
But you could imagine some of the stars coming through. You probably maybe would Alan Shearer at least take a penalty? I know he can't really run too much anymore, but maybe he might come on and take a penalty if called upon, or maybe he could even be the man in the dugout. You would have Les Ferdinand probably putting the shirt back, and I know them two didn't play together, did they? But I think you always see kind of legends coming back.
You'd see Nobby would definitely be there. Lauren Robert.
Good shout.
Dabizas. Warren Barton.
Yeah. He's probably in the Les Ferdinand camp. Oh no, Warren Barton
no,
did.
He's not.
When did he leave? 2000. Oh no, he did. No, I take that back. Sorry, I take that back.
Honestly, Diego Gavilan.
I mean, that would be quite a left field. We were talking about, Daniel Cardone now.
Cardone, yeah, he'd be at Dummett's. Big hero. You must have seen that photo of him and Gillespie getting Cardone's photo at the training ground when they were kids.
I'll have to have a look for it. I probably have done, but
it's on social media. You'll find it. So yeah, I would like to see him at Dummett's were he to have one. Yeah, obviously a couple of joke names in there, but Loire. That a lot of that Bobby side, big
Craig
two.
Bellamy. Can we see Craig Bellamy and Alan Shearer make up? Maybe
he's busy at Bayern Munich.
I can't believe that. I'm still not over Vincent Kompany getting that job. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we start to see testimonials come back at St James's Park. I think the owners will want to pay respect to these long-serving players, as I mentioned, but also they're switched on commercially. They know there's a massive commercial opportunity here. Yes, the gate receipts tend to go to charity, which is fair enough, but around the side of that, you got sponsors and what have you, and it's great to show, St James's Park and Newcastle United off in a non-competitive way as well. So they're very switched on to trying to make every penny count, and it wouldn't surprise me if we do start to see testimonials pop up every now and then. So there's Sam's point. The lack of testimonials should be getting in the bin. Are you ready for my point? Not as light-hearted and as cuddly as yours. In
You've
fact,
gone hard-hitting.
I've gone hard-hitting. I've gone quite the opposite extreme to yours.
Okay.
Something that winds me up every time I hear it, every time I see it reported, and it is offensive chanting. Now, we'll have people who are watching this and listening to this saying, Andrew, man, grow a backbone. It's just a song. Get on with your life. But it's not just a song. Some of the chants that you hear on the concourses of games, some of the chants you hear from the terraces, some of the chants you hear when you're walking through, town squares are just absolutely vulgar. I mean, no place for them in football, in my opinion. Yeah, we often see it, unfortunately, when we play Liverpool down at Anfield, and we hear the song "Feed the Scousers," which is absolutely just horrendous. And what particularly winds me up about that, 2 points, is that, well, actually, there's more than 2 points, but I'll stick with 2. Is A, Liverpool fans and their food bank down there always support Newcastle's food bank when they come up to St James's Park.
Yeah.
And B, and this is probably the key point to anyone that thinks that is an appropriate song to sing. Bear in mind, no one should be taking the mick out of poverty and then people starving, because it's pretty awful. Newcastle has the largest food bank in the country, and yet people from Newcastle, who may not use the food bank, fair enough, think it's appropriate to sing that song when you literally have the biggest food bank in the United Kingdom on your doorstep. And it just, how people think it's appropriate is beyond me. And then with it being the Euros, we've seen the German bomber song being sung, and it just, again, like, in what world do people think that's an okay thing to start singing, especially in Germany as well? Like, what? And I tweeted this out. I said that's awful crack. Someone came back to me and said, I don't think you should be using the word crack in that instance, affirming that I don't have any crack. I'm not a fun guy. Well, if that's the bar being set, ladies and gents, where to have crack, to have a good time, we have to be singing that German bomber song, I'll get on with my life being deemed that I'm not a very joyful guy to be around.
Okay, so look, I completely agree. Completely agree. How can you not? I heard, and there was something quite comforting, somewhat, when I went over to Germany for the Dortmund game, which I know I mention a lot, because that song was not sung, but a couple of well lubricated Newcastle fans started to sing the first two lines of it. People turned round, didn't say anything to them, but people turned round as if to say nope, and they stopped, which made me feel good, actually.
Yeah.
So there's that. Again, I completely agree. Where do you stand on, because there is a version of that sort of to the same tune of the song, but it's about Sunderland and Shola Amiobi. Where do you stand on that?
I think it's slightly different, simply because with singing it, in Germany, and that happened. People lost their lives.
Yeah.
And that's the difference. Okay, look, would I be singing the Shola song? I wouldn't be. It's just my point of view. But I think there's a significant difference in that, which will still be offensive to some people, but it's definitely more towards the side of banter than the actual version which mentions, you know, the RAF in Germany, in my opinion. That's something that happened. You know, people lost their lives. And, you know, you're talking about the worst conflict that Europe's ever seen. And they sung it as well in a city in which, if I'm not mistaken, getting my old history graduate hat on, I'm pretty sure Dresden was the worst affected city. You know, there was a lot of bombing there. You know, we don't need to go into a history lesson. We just should not be singing about a dreadful conflict. We should not be singing about people losing their lives. It's just it's not banter. It's not just a song. Like what? Like I just don't understand why people think that's an okay thing to be doing, especially when you've gone to a country who have been so welcoming by all accounts. You
Oh
know,
yeah.
the hospitality when we were in Dortmund was fantastic. It was lovely to be in that square. Newcastle United fans were equally as responsive to it. No bad behaviour. As you said, you didn't hear a single version of that chant by a large group of people. And for England fans to think, and look, it'll be a small minority, I would like to think. Obviously, when you see the group singing, it's quite a large group. But in terms of the fans that have gone over there, I'd like to think the majority are not condoning of that action of singing that song. But you know, they're so welcoming, and they've put on such a show. And look, I don't know, the Germans might not be that offended by it, but I'm certainly embarrassed from an English point of
That's
view
not the
to
point,
hear.
though, is it?
No, it's not. We shouldn't be giving them the option to
It's
be
the best
offended or be embarrassed. We just should be respectful and
Mm.
should not be. There's hundreds of other songs you could be singing,
Yeah.
and the big response I got, and to be fair, when I tweeted it out because I think it was Dan Rowan tweeted it out first in the video, and I then retweeted it. I was a little bit wary because I thought I'm going to open myself up to a huge amount of abuse here, but I was really pleasantly surprised that I'd say 90% of the people who responded were supported my statement and saying it's an embarrassment, it shouldn't be done. What are we doing? Yes, there were a few that said it's just a song, get on with your life, but I just don't subscribe to that. I just think it's offensive, it's unnecessary, it's not funny, it's not banter. It's pathetic, really, in my view. And look, people in the comments come at me if you want to have a healthy debate about it. I'm all for it. Let's not get offensive. Let's not get into name calling. If you want to debate it with me in the comments, I will debate it with you as long as you're pleasant and kind and cordial about it. But yeah, just offensive challenge. You just get in the bin. We see it at other clubs. The Munich air disaster is one of the ones that always gets chanted about at games by certain fans. We have the Hassel disasters. Another. Just stop it. Like especially chants in which people have lost their lives. Just set a good example. It's an
Mhm.
embarrassment. It really, really is. And unfortunately, even though it's a small minority, usually what then happens is that the whole club gets, tarnished with the same brush. Every fan gets tarnished with the same brush, which is unfair. And I mentioned, the poverty chant down at Anfield. I will just say, look, I know it's not every Newcastle United fan. I know the majority of Newcastle United fans think that is a terrible thing to be singing. So I get that. I'm not generalising every Newcastle fan because we're Newcastle fans, and I'd never be singing it. I'm sure you would never be singing it. And I appreciate we've gone to the opposite extreme here. Definitely not lighthearted. But when I saw that video last week, I was just embarrassed and I was angry as well. It's just not on.
Yeah. Well said. Well said. Actually, yeah. Very, very, very well said. There are other things you can be doing. And if you want, under the guise of bants, which for example, the Albanian fans snapping spaghetti in half in front of the Italian fans, and that was
Brilliant.
yeah.
Brilliant. I saw someone was a French baguette as well, someone else was doing. That's funny. That's great.
Yeah.
All for that.
Yeah. But there's no, yeah, I can't argue. Normally, whatever the point is you make, that I will try in the spirit of the program to argue against it. But I can't for this one because it's just right, isn't it? Yeah, it just needs to be kicked completely out of football. And again, yeah, it's not everyone. Um, it's not just Newcastle fans. It's not aimed at any set of fans in particular. It's just these things, whether like the events that you say, that they're not there to be taken the mick out of. It's not banter. Yeah, there's better things you could be doing or singing about. Yeah, I think you're gonna win this week because I hate all that as well, to be honest. As pretty much no, but probably everyone who doesn't actively take part in those sort of things absolutely detests it. So
there we go. As simple as that. And I'm not surprised you agreed with me, Sam, because I know you're a decent human being, and hopefully, the majority of people will agree. And look, and if you don't, I'm not saying you're not a decent human being. Okay, that was maybe coming across a little bit wrong. Everyone is entitled to their opinion. You can tell me it's just a song, and I'll get on with it. We've had a few of these episodes where people have gone into the comments and not agreed with us, and we've been quite forthright and strong on our points, which is fine. But I accept people have their opinions. I just don't agree with you if you think chants like that are okay. Poverty, death, war. I mean, in what world is it okay to be singing them in a way to try and taunt your opposition? It's just awful. So I don't want to offend anyone by going this strong on, but it's something I believe passionately in, that it should not be in football and it should be eradicated. It should be put in the bin. Again, get into the comments if you disagree, and we'll have a polite and cordial debate about it, but you'll not be shifting my opinion, nor Sam's, by the looks of it.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I still would love Shay Given to have a testimonial. I think we can both agree on that as well. But yeah, it's not really any match for your point this week. You're right. You did go very hard hitting.
Yeah, I did warn you, but there we go. But thank you for everyone for tuning in and watching. It's going to be a very brief episode because Sam was right. I don't think you can't really argue against it, although I'm sure some will. This has been the Everything's Black and White podcast, episode 18 of Get in the Bin. And Sam, I do think we are drawing to a close of this series because I have to be honest with you, ladies and gentlemen, it's getting a little bit harder every week to find an item.
They just can't afford me anymore.
That's what it is. I mean, we're recording this at 11:30. That did look like a pint. Was that a pint of orange juice there?
Yeah, it's orange. Jesus.
I was going to say, it's 3 p.m. somewhere, right?
No.
So we are. I think we're going to round off on episode 20. So 2 more episodes to go. It's been an absolute pleasure doing it, and we'll have something.
I will be canned forever. Well,
no. Don't worry, Sam. You'll be returning. We've just got to put our thinking hats on and come up with another creative 20-episode series.
I still think we need to do a live version of Get in the Bin with some audience interaction, but what do I know?
Well, we'll look into that. I'm sure people would come out in their droves to see you up on Tyneside and putting items into the bin. But this has been episode 18. Hit subscribe, give a thumbs up, get into the comments, like and review it as well on your podcast app if you can. Head over to chroniclelive.co.uk for all the latest Newcastle United news. And from sunny Spain, which I will be when this comes out, we'll see you guys very soon.
Love you. Bye.